Senate proposed a bill to bar landlords from collecting annual rent. Welcome to the news and thank you for tuning in to listen. Adeyemi, while speaking after the first reading of the bill on the floor of the Senate, stated that the bill would enable tenants to make a maximum advance payment of 3 months' rent or subsequent monthly payment. This is sounding juicy. This is sounding very, very juicy. Well, for some people, they might think, oh, the yearly, for some people that they are used to the yearly payment, they might say, see you, it's better I gather the money once and, collect, as in and pay, so that it is going to be off my neck. But on the other hand, some people might see, like I said, this is a two-edged sword. Why some people might say, see, instead of, you to save and save and save, and maybe when you pay the rent, almost nothing is left on you, or maybe you are actually going to be living from hand to mouth while you are trying to even save up from the rent. Why don't they just make it like this? It's sounding juicy to some people. Well, let's hear more about this, the news in detail. Please stay with us. A bill was passed before the Senate on Tuesday to make it an offense for landlords to demand advance payment of rent from tenants of residential and office buildings and spaces beyond 3 months. The bill was sponsored by the lawmaker representing Kogi West Senatorial District, Smart Adeyemi. Adeyemi, while speaking after the first reading of the bill on the floor of the Senate, said that the bill will enable tenants to make a maximum advance payment of 3 months' rent with subsequent monthly payment. He said, we discovered that landlords are compelling tenants to make 1 year and 2 year advance rent payments before they would give them keys to their apartment. It may not be an issue to quite a number of people, but to many others, it is a great pain for them. Most Nigerians need the protection of a law to be able to meet their basic needs after paying rent. Many landlords did not secure loans to build their houses. They are a product of free money they acquire from the system. Yet they made life difficult for poor Nigerians who do not have such privilege of making ill-gotten money from the system and put up structures. The buildings are constructed in such a manner that an average Nigerian would not be able to afford it. Many people are involved in corrupt practices to get their rent paid, while the ladies took to prostitution. The law we are proposing stipulates a maximum advance rent payment of 3 months. After the expiration of a 3 months rent, the tenants are expected to pay monthly. There are many tenants whose salaries are competing with their rent because they live in cities like Abuja. The law will prevent the poor workers from any kind of oppression. Well, why this is going to be sounding like good news, it is also going to be sounding like bad news. Apart from those now who are now used, there are people who they now do, no matter how it's difficult for them, they'll tell you, see, that yearly payment is okay. When I pay it, I know I've paid. Then, 3 months might skip my mind, or, some people might even, start saying things like that I'm used to it, or nobody's complaining. Believe you me, citizens will come out and say, please, this one is not our problem, we are not managing. People will come out and say, it's a good one. Landlords will come out and say, these people want to kill us. Especially those who got their money, who actually, they worked for their money to put up the structures. Believe you me, there are people like that. It is not every building you see that is very beautiful and magnificent. It's actually built by ill-gotten money. Some of these people worked hard. Like they worked their self out day and night to ensure that they had the money to build such houses. And they feel, okay, if I start collecting the money small, it's not going to be useful. But if the money is given to me in bulk, big money, they make big weights. Big money solve big problems, right? So they believe that it's going to be more useful to them. They have various of reasons, sincerely. They have various of reasons why they actually put the rent up. Some it is because of, for no just reason, it's just the trend. While for some it is actually because, they want big money like that. They want the money coming in bulk. So they can actually use it to solve problems. Okay. Is paying yearly rent our problems, making Nigeria buoyant? Every other thing pertaining bills and remuneration will surely be in place on their own. Nigerians need good governance, restructured country where people will find their levels in terms of competitive advantage to prosper. Well. People are going to take sides with this man. People who don't have houses will come out and say, no, it is actually a very wonderful one. And I'm sure the way we are tackling it here is also the same way others will be tackling it over there. They're going to be like, they're in the Senate. They're going to be like, this, what about the landlords and all that? But at the end of the day, it's actually a good, kudos to Mr. Smart Adeyemi. You did a very good job here. We just pray that it is not just argued, it's actually enforced. Now, most of our Nigerian laws only exist on ink and paper. So we just pray that this particular one, after it is been signed into law, it is actually going to be, it's going to take off, that weight of that chunk of money. While some people will say, see, I prefer this, I prefer that, but at least you're able to do something else for yourself. If you're someone who you have to gather like 2, 3, 4 of your salary, or sometimes you gather 80% or 70% of it and keep the remaining 30% for other expenses and and yourself and all these things. At the end of the day, they have this. The advantages is actually greater, but the disadvantage is very minimal. The disadvantages is for the landlords who they will like the rent to be coming in bulk. Like I said earlier on, they want that particular money to be used to solve a particular problem. Oga, please, it is not everyone that is a landlord. So yes, paying rent is definitely one of our biggest problems. You want to be like Onyibo, but you don't want to behave like them. If your salary is monthly, why should your rent be yearly? When we talk about corruption, people like you, when we talk about corruption, people like you think it's only people in government that can be corrupt. Oh my goodness. You see?
And also, these guys are always talking or thinking of what Nigerians are not even thinking of. The immediate problems Nigerians want solved. These guys will not look at them. They will not look at them. These are supposed to be secondary. People cannot even boast of 3 square meal a day. They can't. Without your belly being satisfied, I don't think there's any other thing. And you don't have a good environment. How do you survive? How do you survive? All these are good, but they are secondary. But they leave that to begin to chase shadows.